In many markets, interest rates have typically been set with reference to LIBOR, the London Interbank Offered Rate. LIBOR rates have historically been available in various currencies and for various tenors. Many organisations have cash instruments and derivatives that are subject to LIBOR. Hello, I'm Ian Farrar, Corporate Treasury Solutions Leader for mainland China and Hong Kong. And today, I'm here with David Chung from our Corporate Treasury Solutions team to talk about LIBOR reform. David, I understand that the underlying issue here is that the banks that currently submit quotes that are used to determine LIBOR will not be compelled to do so after 31st of December 2021. How will this impact companies and treasurers?
Thanks, Ian. Most companies perform funding, investment, or financial risk management activities. Many sources of funding, such as bank loans, bank facilities, commercial paper, and debt, will be impacted by LIBOR reform. Investment activities such as deposits, money market funds, commercial paper investments, bonds, and structured notes will also be impacted by LIBOR reform. Cash pooling or intercompany lending, which could be an asset or a liability for any entity in a group, could also be impacted when LIBOR ceases to be published. Equally, derivatives used to hedge interest rate risk, including some cross-currency swaps, also may make reference to LIBOR rates. What many have not yet considered is how LIBOR reform might also impact working capital contracts. There is also implications for valuation, tax, and accounting when LIBOR disappears.
Thanks, David. So the LIBOR reform has implications for many aspects of the core activities of financial institutions, including banks and insurers, as well as the Treasury Department of Corporates. But what will happen to the financial instruments you mentioned when LIBOR is no longer quoted?
The expectation is that LIBOR will be replaced by an alternative risk-free rate. It is expected that in most cases, dollar LIBOR will be replaced with SOFR, sterling LIBOR will be replaced by SONIA, and so forth.
Right, but it isn't as simple as that, is it? The process typically won't be automatic. Could financial institutions and corporates experience a value transfer?
That's right, Ian. Regardless of cash or derivative products, there is a potential for value transfer, and clear fallback language in existing LIBOR contracts will require discussion between the counterparties ahead of 31st December 2021. Analysis of the spread adjustment would minimise value transfer between counterparties.
So defining the spread adjustment is going to be a critical element of the transition to alternative interest rates. But you also mentioned that the alternative rates are typically overnight rates, which implies that after 31st December 2021, the market will not have term rates. Can you share your thoughts on that?
Sure. LIBOR is a forward-looking rate, whereas the alternative risk-free rate is a backward-looking rate. So for example, on the day that 3-month LIBOR is published, the Treasurer can calculate his or her interest payable or receivable in 3 months' time. However, as you pointed out, the alternative risk-free rates are overnight rates, so corporate treasurers will face challenges knowing what their future interest payables and receivables will be. Currently, working groups are seeking to develop a term rate extrapolated from the alternative risk-free rates.
2021 seems a long way away, so do corporate treasurers need to worry about LIBOR reform now, or just wait for the banks to tell them what their new adjustments should be?
It might seem like a long time until December 2021, but we are already halfway through 2019, and there is a lot of work to do, apart from identifying the risk, assessing impacts, and calculating the spread adjustments. Scenario planning is required. For example, what if one jurisdiction continues with an interbank rate, such as IBOR, and another jurisdiction moves to an alternative risk-free rate? Scenario planning to minimize basis risk is essential. Also, IT systems will need to be recalibrated, tax planning reviewed, and legal teams called in to mediate contract fallback terms.
Thanks, David. It sounds like there's a lot of thought required assessing the impact and when developing a Treasury roadmap for LIBOR reform. Obtaining independent advice on developing market practices and valuation methodologies, not to mention the implications on hedge accounting, will often help treasurers to reach an optimised outcome from the LIBOR reform. And that's the reason why we, PwC, have a corporate treasury solutions team composed of specialists in Treasury, financial reporting, tax and legal matters to help you navigate all key aspects of LIBOR reform so as to provide a one-stop service offering for you.